Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Cyber Foundation Fridays. I am Dwayne Natwick of Captain Hyperscaler. Welcome again to this session. We are live on YouTube on the Captain Hyperscaler channel, as well as the Skill Up Like a Superhero channel, as well as on LinkedIn here today. Let's see if we make sure everything is okay in terms of my. All right, just making sure we had everything properly. Hold on one second. Trying to mute. Just delete that. Okay, welcome. And today is our final session on our Cyber Foundation Fridays. Again, I'm Dwayne Natwick, the owner and principal trainer for Captain Hyperscaler, a Osaka Accolade, CompTIA, Microsoft, EC Council training provider. And welcome again to our 9th and final session of Cyber Foundation Fridays, at least for 2024. I think there was enough interest, enough attendance that we probably will continue this on in the new year. But I need to just refocus and kind of regenerate and re-energize a little bit here over the holidays. So and with everybody being finding time to be off and things like that, definitely want to make sure we have good attendance. And again, you can find any of the previous sessions. You can go look on the LinkedIn live events under Captain Hyperscaler's LinkedIn page, as well as go to the Captain Hyperscaler, subscribe to the Captain Hyperscaler YouTube channel. We also have the Skill Up Like a Superhero YouTube channel, Cyber Back to School. Some of these are on, but they are all on the YouTube channel for Captain Hyperscaler. So, and as well as their events that are in the in LinkedIn Live. So, if you're looking for any training going into 2025, I am going to be offering some Accolade courses right out of the holidays and right out of the new year. Doing these a little bit differently than I did in the last quarter. I did the foundation courses, and then a few weeks later did the practitioner courses. I'm going to do these full on as partner events for over the course of a week. 3-hour sessions for the foundations courses, 2 4-hour sessions for the practitioner courses. The exception of cyber resilience, I actually can get that one done in 2 3-hour sessions. But the AI security practitioner and the risk management practitioner, I know I need 2 4-hour sessions. There's a lot of material around delivering and doing and building around that. So reach out on LinkedIn to me, or to myself, or on the channel. Here's my LinkedIn. It's actually HTTPS. Another slide I've got to make adjustments to here. Let me do that real quick before I forget. For everybody, there we go. HTTPS LinkedIn, and again, the Captain Hyperscaler. Go to the Captain Hyperscaler website, and you can reach out as well. So with that, again, if you are looking for training, looking to go to the AI security, the cyber resilience, the risk management, if you're not familiar with what those courses are foundationally, the AI security is based on the NIST AI risk management framework. The cyber resilience is on the cyber security framework 2.0. The risk management is based primarily on the NIST risk management framework. But one of the things that Accolade does beyond just the particular framework is understanding the identification of the risk and the threat modeling of risk. And if you didn't tune into my LinkedIn Live session and Skill Up Like a Superhero session yesterday on the 14th with Allison and Jason from Accolade, I welcome you. Go back, find that event in the Captain Hyperscaler past events, and listen in on it, because it was very good discussion around Accolade's training philosophy, or their certification exam philosophy, which aligns very well with Captain Hyperscaler's philosophy around how we train things and how we want to make sure that you gain practical skills out of our training. So again, if you are looking for just one of these courses, just foundational, which is good for any user, anybody that's looking at understanding risk a little bit better, you can register for a foundation course or a practitioner course as a single course for $300. If you want to attend the whole week, $500 for both the foundation and practitioner course around each of these topics. Okay. The way that I'm delivering it is the week of January 6th through 10th. I'll be doing the AI security course in USAM, and the cyber resilience course in USPM Eastern time, starting at 8 a.m. Eastern time, which is like 1 p.m. UTC. The cyber resilience course will start at 1 p.m. Eastern time, which would be about 5 o'clock, I believe, UTC. So the risk management course will be 8 a.m. Eastern time, 1 p.m. UTC for that week. So over the course of 2 weeks, you can take all three of these courses if you'd like, for a low price of $1,500 US. If you are looking at doing all three of these courses and registering for all three of these courses, I could probably give you a little bit of a discount too. So that's why I'm not providing a payment link. Feel free to reach out. If you've got a large group that wants to attend, I can certainly do some, give you some assistance on that as well. Each of these courses comes with an exam voucher. By around this time or close to this time, the cyber resilience is already available to the public. The risk management will be be finished with beta and be publicly available, and the AI security will be about a month or two away. But I will provide everybody with exam vouchers for those that register when they're all available. You'll also get the ebook for all of these when they're available as well. The cyber resilience is available now. I believe the AI security will be coming out when everything comes out of beta, as well as the risk management will be available as well here shortly. So what are we going to talk about today? And we're going to cover a lot of topics in a short amount of time. Okay, we're not going to go deep into all these because, again, I teach an AI security course and it goes through many of these ethics and societal impacts. But let's think about this, and let's think about what the considerations are around ethical use of AI. We key concerns, and this is something. If you watch any science fiction movie, or or Avengers: Age of Ultron, you can kind of get a feeling around the key concerns and the key aspects around what can happen if biases and come into play within AI and transparency, and not keeping tabs on and being transparent and accountable to your models. Those could become issues down the line, and that's really the key guidelines to ethical AI. Transparency, fairness, accountability, privacy, security are all things that we need to make sure that we're considering, and we align those with various ethical frameworks as well. And one of the things around the AI risk management framework with NIST, as well as I know that the EU has a very similar framework around privacy. And key thing around working in the EU is that privacy and that aspect of GDPR leaks in as well. So need to know how that's going to handle and how that's going to impact ourselves from a societal perspective, and societal, our own, user perspective, our subject perspective, as well as going above and beyond that into the aspect of the overall of our environment, of our of healthcare, of lifestyle, of of finance. All of those aspects of things are things that we need to consider and things that we need to make sure we are looking at appropriately as we review and protect ourselves in our environment, as well as maintain compliance and things like that. Not going to talk a whole lot about the evolution of AI, but obviously we have gone from using, from certain industries using machine learning technologies and AI, chat bots on websites and things like that, to generative AI and ChatGPT and Copilot and Bedrock and Vertex and all of those aspects that all the cloud providers have to to build upon the aspects of generative AI and the creative aspects of AI. But we need to maintain our code of ethics and make sure that we are using those automation tools, using the ability to uh, to um, to use AI creatively, to not take it to a step where we're being unethical about it. Um, and one of the key things around all that is it and one of the questions that I get a lot when I'm teaching like an AI fundamentals course or something like that is AI going to take my job? And what AI is going to do is it's going to make your job more efficient, or it's going to create new jobs for you. And that's really a key piece of the pie, and how it's going to have and reshape the environment. I've seen different posts around how AI is going to there are new jobs being created for governing over generative AI that are taking, that are, kind of refactoring various other jobs within the marketplace. And those are all real and real true aspects of things, because maybe a role that we have today, AI and chat, Copilot and all that's making it more efficient. So we don't, so it's making that person do their job better. So now we can, instead of giving, creating more resources to do that job role, we can repurpose those resources into governing over the AI and governing over how it's going to be, making sure then that we're properly using AI ethically, properly using it with proper privacy. Again, making sure we're transparent and accountable and maintaining inclusivity too. From an inclusivity standpoint, one of the key societal impacts that AI has is the ability for, and I realize my slides are in the wrong place, so you're just watching me talk. The aspect of transparency and accountability and inclusivity. The inclusivity aspect of things, if you, I saw an example of this and how generative AI can be used to help people with Lou Gehrig's disease, with ALS, get their voice back by using and taking video, taking our voicemail messages and our conversations, our video recordings and things, and putting our voice to the computer computer service and that they use to speak with their eyes. So that's a great use of AI. And again, I always do that. Hold on a sec. Took my slides off there. Whoops. Technical difficulties, my mistake. There we go. Okay. Healthcare, machine learning and AI has been used for quite a while for diagnosis, treatments. We want to make sure it's ethical. We want to make sure we're maintaining perfect privacy. Aspect of AI comes into play a lot with when we're thinking about education. The co-pilots and the aspects of that is in the ethical use, and even how professors are now checking people's term papers and things like that for whether they used AI. And if somebody speaks too fluently, speaks too clearly in their writing, they might get flagged that they used a co-pilot, and you gotta make sure that you're backing yourself up with, no, this was written myself, and things like that. So we want to make sure that you're using you're building your content appropriately, and using that appropriately. Again, social and ethical impacts are huge within AI. Make sure we have a framework established. Make sure that stakeholders are involved, and when we're making sure that we don't have any kind of bias, we want to make sure that we're understanding what the risks are, and making sure that we are inclusive, and including the proper individuals around how AI and how information is going to flow within our organization. Make sure that we have got our data owners and our data custodians and processors involved to make sure that everything is segmented properly. Make sure all of our data is properly classified and categorized so that it doesn't become exposed. All of those things to manage risk, because one of the things that we don't want to have happen is harm to our organization, to our people, and that's why the AI risk management framework is key here, and how we govern, and how we understand the context of how we're using AI, how we measure the risks, and how we then manage those risks and implement those challenges and maintain those principles and maintain levels of unbiased and fairness in our AI. Data bias is real. We have bias all over, depending on our culture, our race, our religion, our geographic location. There's levels of bias, and we want to make sure that we are managing that risk, and we are making proper decisions that are not biased. And that's a key piece. And the ways to mitigate that bias in our AI is making sure that we're training that data properly, making sure we have diverse and inclusive teams that understand understand the various places that bias may take place, and then being transparent around our decision making. So we need to train and build upon the AI tools and the machine learning algorithms, and how we're training that information appropriately, and auditing that on a regular basis. Bringing if we don't have a diverse group involved in available for the development, can we bring in a diverse group for the auditing? The auditing, the review, the evaluation before it goes live, to make sure that we aren't causing any harm based on biases, and we're being very ethical, and making sure we have various ethical guidelines, making sure that it's transparent, accountable. One of the various challenges to a lot of the generative AI applications is the transparency of what it's doing, where it's gathering its information, because to some degree that information is a trade secret. It is intellectual property. So there's a balancing act that those companies like OpenAI and all Meta are trying to. They don't want to make their algorithms public because, oops, sorry about that. They're not making their algorithms public because because obviously that's intellectual property and something that makes their application great, but it's causing trouble, causing societal impact in terms of not being transparent, and people not understanding how they're gathering their data, where they're gathering their data from. So when you're developing and utilizing AI, and developing an AI application or machine learning, we need to know what data is being handled. Having stakeholders involved, having diverse stakeholders, having clear communication in terms of what what is our goal, and how we want to use AI. Training and education is very key. again, a reason why why the AI security and risk foundations course is great for anybody, because we talk about the threats. We talk about the, where those threats are, how to identify those threats, how to discuss those threats, and how everybody can be involved in addressing those threats. And another piece to that then is transparency. Again, I talked about transparency already, but explainability of our AI. How is it? We need to build a trust. If we're building AI applications, we're using AI applications, what's the transparency? What's the accountability? And making sure that everybody is being upheld to ethical practices. We need to be traceable. We need to know where that data comes from, where that data is being used, and how that data is being manipulated or adjusted appropriate. And if it's appropriate, if we're violating any privacy. One of the things that I mention when I talk about AI and how what AI is looking, what AI is gathering, and how they're using it is no different than any other application. And what an application is going to what an application is going to what an application is going to access and what their permissions are. Our AI and AI models and our co-pilots and our applications that are using co-pilots and learning from data, we need to make sure that we're governing over our data and we're assigning our data appropriately. And so the responsibility on us as users, us as risk practitioners, us as organizations, falls on how our data is classified. If our data is not classified appropriately and governed to segment and have certain things like data loss prevention in place, we are doing ourselves a disservice, and we're going to probably expose sensitive data. So we need to understand that. We need to also be empathetic to others and make sure empathetic inclusiveness is a very important aspect. But we want to make sure we have diverse abilities, diverse communication, fairness, and again, equity, no discrimination, no biases. We want to make sure there's nothing negative and bullying like between how we use AI, and ensure that privacy and transparency appropriately. Looking at looking at the overall society and the stakeholders, and if we're a multinational, global type of organization, how are we getting our stakeholders involved and looking at the different societal frameworks on a global basis. And then we can start to also use it in social good. Something that I've been involved in for about 4 years now is volunteering as a judge to review Microsoft Imagine Cup submissions. And I know there's a lot of other Microsoft MCTs and MVPs that are involved in that as well, and they can probably attest to how great a program that is, because you see all sorts of great ideas. One of the ideas, I've mentored this group that was accepted to go to the finals, which if you're not familiar with the Imagine Cup, Microsoft will there's Imagine Cup and there's Imagine Cup Junior. Imagine Cup Junior is generally groups of kids that are 13, 14 years old. The Imagine Cup itself are college age, university age kids. Or young adults, I guess I should say, and they provide these abstracts. And I just went through last weekend going through some abstracts for 2025's Imagine Cup, of how to use AI for good. And this one group that I was mentoring for the finals had an amazing app. It was an app that you actually could scan a menu at a restaurant and it would tell you the allergens or tell you what had gluten in it and things like that. which was really really cool. And if you win, Microsoft actually gives you seed money to develop to further develop that app. So it's a really great way to use AI for good. And every one of those submissions are all AI for good aspects of things. So, um, but without being able to explain our AI, we could get ourselves in an ethical conundrum. So uh, that gets us to the kind of privacy and security based concerns. Again, we got to know where our data is. We got to understand the risks and where our data uh, might be exposed. Make sure we're properly governing over our data and all those aspects of things. We want to make sure, if we think about GDPR, we need to think about the consent to utilize that information as well. So those are all important pieces to the puzzle. Making sure we're evaluating and monitoring properly the use of AI, data loss prevention uh, solutions, sensitivity labeling, you know, activity monitoring, insider risk management. All of those things are going to be very important. You can't identify something bad that's happening without monitoring your environment, and that's something I tell a lot of people all day long when I'm talking. Again, surveillance and monitoring, behavioral analytics. Again, using AI to protect AI essentially is what some of this is. Some of this would be knowing what we're doing around AI and proper behaviors. How are people potentially of creating their own problems through how they're using AI and how they might be exposing data. That's all going to help for building the security and using, again, I mentioned some of these already, data protection. How are we classifying our data? How are we governing over our data, preventing data leakage, data breaches? How are we maintaining compliance? What's the access control of the data, and what access control does the AI the generative model have to what data? We need to know that, and we need to regularly audit that and make sure we are building robust abilities to mitigate bias, to provide transparency to our users and to our environments, and build trust and compliance within the organization, which goes also into the continuous education of our user environment as well. Again, something that I do a lot of is talking about risk, and what is the risk to our organization? What is the risk that we might have in using these tools? Um, Done a couple of different trainings for companies that have certain intellectual property or trade secrets that they don't want to get out there and they don't want to expose with utilizing Copilot. And so understanding how that takes place and how that's utilized is also going to be something that we need to make sure. Accountability and responsibility of AI is key. Again, making sure responsible AI is besides being ethical and being unbiased, making sure that we've got auditability and reporting of what is taking place and how and our security practitioners, our risk practitioners, having AI practitioners within our organization is key as well. Going back to kind of that, those new roles that might be coming out in terms of governance and compliance, might, around data. We've got data governance specialists, data analysts. We need to have AI practitioners and AI analysts that are providing, that education and awareness, providing that development, protecting that privacy of our information, and levels of continuous learning, for our practitioners as well as our organizations. And again, our AI security courses that are around the AI, um, that are around the accolade certification hit both of these topics. They hit the organizational with the foundations, and then the practitioner course then is how the people that are going to do it, those managers, those directors, can implement and apply it. Having all of our, and building upon that and using stakeholders and having the proper stakeholders are going to help us as well. We can't talk about AI without talking about legal and regulatory, and I brought up some of that as well, especially privacy laws. We've got GDPR. There's legal frameworks around AI now within the European Union that utilizes GDP, that references GDPR, make sure that the AI avoids any issues. Again, UK, China obviously has very strong and stringent privacy laws in general. United States, it's generally based on the industry, such as HIPAA for healthcare or GLBA for financial institutions, things of that nature. But those all tie in to how we're going to utilize AI and generative AI applications like Copilot and things like that as well. Understanding the global regulatory issues for various technologies as well. Sorry, hold on one second. Okay. Global regulatory issues and all of that, like we were just talking about, are going to influence how we are going to build our applications, how we're going to use our applications, how we're going to reference various data as well, are all things that we're going to make sure that we address accordingly. Surveillance and security, this safety issues are another key aspect that we haven't touched on here yet. And autonomous vehicles are a key aspect of that. Every organization now has, every car manufacturer has some level of autonomous vehicle, whether it's General, I live in Michigan, so I talk about General Motors and Ford, and at a third level, Chrysler, which isn't really owned and run out of the United States anymore. You obviously got Tesla, that was one of the first autonomous driving vehicles. But you have to think about the safety of that all. It's not just, and the the regulatory issues of using those vehicles, the AI surveillance and security, using AI to identify somebody that may have broken into a building. There's been situations, and there's an ethical and privacy aspect to this piece, because there could be false positives that are created through AI, and there have been. There's real debates within law enforcement of the ethical use of surveillance cameras to identify potential suspects in break-ins and shootings and things of that nature. So those are important things that we need to think about. Standards across the world, cooperative standards, ISO standards and things like that go across jurisdictions. How are we using those? Consumer protections, healthcare again, and warfare strategies, and all of those things are all things that we need to think about the ethics of it all. GDPR compliance, AI systems compliance challenges, ethical considerations as well. Maybe we've hit on some of those already. Some decision-making frameworks. Again, when we think about how, we talked about some of these already. There's ethical aligned design principles. There's Google AI principles. EU has trustworthiness in AI. Are all various standards and frameworks. Again, we talked about some of these principles and functional, how we can address these and bring these organization into our own organizational policies, and having an executive commitment to that. When I talk about risk within organizations, and doesn't just stick to AI, I say that I always mention that the executive management needs to be the advocate for the culture, for the AI risk aware culture, the risk awareness, the security culture within our organization, and then it's executed by everybody else. You do have the practitioners and all that that recognize that and do all of those aspects to managing risk, and then also there are the users, and the users that are using these tools and these applications that are going to do that manage risk as well. So dedicated ethical teams and ethics teams are important aspects to all of this as well. Key, monitoring and enforcement, having various ethics teams, ethical frameworks. Again, lots of organizations are creating AI roles around all of that. Regular training, again, training is essential. Making sure everybody understands how their information is being used, how they need to make sure it's no different than phishing training, security awareness training, data protection training, ethics training. AI training should be all a part of that, and just reinforces knowledge and reinforces transparency, explainability of AI as we go and continue on. Some a little bit more around some standards. The EU has frameworks. The USA has frameworks around AI framework. NIST has framework. Has the has the risk management framework. The EU has was it NIS2 or something like that. That's around risk management and security. I think there's an AI basis in there. So know where you're from and know where your jurisdictions are within your organization and how those standards go about. Okay. And so that brings us very quickly through AI risk and ethics. Again, you want to learn more, attend one of my classes. But I wanted to kind of give everybody a real quick overview of how AI and ethical use of AI and responsible use of AI are very important aspect of things. Hope to see some of you at our upcoming trainings in January. I do have if you're interested in a very deep dive into risk and compliance, I'm also doing an Osaka course in December. That's an open enrollment course the week of December, I believe 16th. It is a 4-day course. A little bit more expensive than $300 a seat, but if you have some people or groups that want to be involved, feel free to join in on that one as well. Again, feel free to connect with me on any of the social media links provided. I'm also on Blue Sky at Dwayne N. Cloud. But again, I'll leave this up here in terms of some dates. Feel free to reach out on LinkedIn or through the Captain Hyperscaler website if you are interested in any of these courses. That brings the Cyber Foundation Fridays to a close. Thank you for everybody who's attended these and commented. I believe good positive feedback from everybody, and I really appreciate that. So thanks everybody for your time, for attending these and for viewing these on demand. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you in a future Captain Hyperscaler course.